In a moment, we will witness the story of the Titanic and its sinking process. At the moment of collision, we'll see it from inside the ship. We will look at the real images of the iceberg that sank the Titanic and the marks it left on the ship. Afterwards, we'll learn what those who fell into the water experienced through an experiment, and we will chase after the truth. The sound you heard belonged to the Titanic's distress call. With the help of telegraphs, SOS signals were sent to nearby ships. The Titanic had begun to sink slowly. At the telegraph stood Jack Phillips, a 25-year-old young man. He never left his station until the room was flooded. That young man acted heroically until the very last moment, but nothing he did could change the outcome. The Titanic would only be found 73 years after it sank, and everything would begin with the discovery of its wreck. The mysterious story of the Titanic began many years ago. In 1912, 111 years ago from today, the newspapers published the headline in bold letters: "The Titanic will set out on her maiden voyage." Alongside were images of the ship and the ticket prices. The story of the Titanic was, in fact, a challenge. The transatlantic passenger trade, carrying wealthy travelers and immigrants, was highly profitable and competitive. Two major companies were in constant rivalry. The White Star Line announced it would build two ships that would break records crossing the Atlantic. But instead of focusing on speed, they chose a different path. In 1908, they gathered an army of mostly Irish workers with a revolutionary idea: to build the largest, most luxurious, and most comfortable ship ever seen. Their motto was, "We may not be the fastest, but who wants to spend an ocean voyage seasick?" Their goal was to dominate the route between Europe and America within 5 years. Soon after, the gigantic RMS Olympic was launched. At 45,000 tons, it was the largest ship in the world at that time, capable of carrying 1,000 passengers. But the company's true masterpiece was yet to come: RMS Titanic. Built by around 14,000 workers, Titanic's launch drew a crowd of 200,000 people. Onlookers said it felt as if the land itself was moving when the ship entered the water. For the people of that era, it was... As the ship left port, operators warned of icebergs along the southern route. These were common warnings in the Atlantic and often ignored. At 9:30 p.m., a ship ahead of Titanic, named Masaba, reported seeing large icebergs. The message reached the Titanic's communication room but never made it to the captain. Operators Phillips and Harold Bride were busy transmitting messages for first-class passengers who were paying for telegrams to friends and relatives in New York. The night grew colder. The sea was unusually calm, like a mirror. In Titanic's crow's nest, lookouts rotated every 2 hours. Near midnight, lookout Frederick Fleet spotted something ahead, dark and indistinct. It was an iceberg. He rang the bell 3 times and phoned the bridge. First Officer Murdoch ordered, "Hard a starboard," to turn the ship. Though traveling only 40 kilometers per hour, Titanic's massive size made it impossible to avoid. Just 37 seconds later, at 11:40 p.m., Titanic struck the iceberg on her starboard side. The ice ripped open her hull like a razor. Rivets popped, and 5 watertight compartments flooded at a rate of 400 tons of water per minute. When designer Thomas Andrews inspected the damage, he confirmed the unthinkable. The Titanic was doomed. The captain gave the order to prepare the lifeboats, with the call, "Women and children first." Panic swept the ship. Meanwhile, the operators began sending distress signals. Only distant ships responded, except for the Carpathia, which promised to come, but it was 4 hours away. Titanic had only 2 hours. Nearby, the Californian was just 32 kilometers away. Its operator had earlier warned Titanic about the ice, but Phillips, frustrated, had snapped, "Shut up, I'm busy!" Later, when distress rockets were seen from Titanic, Captain Lord of the Californian wasn't sure they were emergency signals. Regulations at the time were unclear. He chose to wait. By the time his crew realized the truth, it was too late. At 2:20 a.m., Titanic broke apart and sank. The cries of people freezing in the water echoed across the Atlantic. Those in lifeboats watched helplessly. The next morning, rescue ships arrived. Some survivors witnessed the iceberg that had torn Titanic open, still floating with visible scars of impact. The iceberg itself had begun its journey nearly 300 days earlier, breaking off from Greenland and drifting with the Labrador Current until fate placed it in Titanic's path. By dawn, 1,500 people, mostly men and third-class passengers, had perished, including Captain Smith, who had planned to retire after this voyage. Families were torn apart, mothers lost children, and children lost parents. In just 3 hours, lives were destroyed forever. And yet, the Titanic story does not end here. Many mysteries remain. In the next episode, we'll look at reports, experiments, and incredible images from the Titanic's wreck. So don't forget to take just 2 seconds to like this video and subscribe for part 2. See you there.